because I've seen a lot about journaling recently, and apparently it helps with like productivity and mood and just being more reflective on your day, and I think that's going to be very helpful for me. But yeah, we've got two soft cover journals here. They sound very soft. And as I said, mainly this orange one is going to be my personal one because I like it's probably my favourite colour of the two. Quite like the bright orange colour of this. So it is 70 GSM, so not the thickest of paper, but it's still fun. And then 192 pages. So I reckon I'll get through like 2 of these a year, maybe. Maybe just under, maybe just over. We'll find out if I keep it going. As I said, these are dotted. So the dotted ones are, when I open this up, I don't know if we can open this up and have a look without we can. Without taking the little label off. So as you can see, these are just little dots on their page. So you can do effectively whatever you want with it, which is really nice. And it does come with this little pen loop, so you can always keep a pen in there so you're ready to journal or write down bits and pieces, thoughts in your day. And as I said, this is from Ryman. So, Ryman. And it's an A5 size, which I think is a good size. You can get a little bit bigger, but for like portability, but also like enough space to write and feel like I'm getting a good use out of it. I think A5 is perfect for that. So that's the orange one, and you can see in there, it does have a little page marker, so if I want to mark the page I'm on so I can write the next one the next day, or mark any pages I want to go back to, I have got that option. I think it's only a single, yeah, there's only a single one. Some of them I use have 2 markers in it. But yeah, that's a single one. And the blue is very much the same. As you can see, we've got the blue here. And that's another Ryman A5 notebook with dotted paper, 192 pages and 70 GSM. To be fair, GSM with paper doesn't really bother me too much, but it's nice to have not like paper, I say paper thin paper, really thin paper, because that's a bit annoying when you can see so much through the page when you're writing. But these will buy one get one free as well, so it's always a good deal. And again, it has the little page marker in it. So, now we've got these two ready, we're going to move over to the desk so we can start getting into these journals, breaking them in, and adding the various sections we need to get started. Feel free to follow this video if you want to start journaling yourself. I'm only just starting, so it might be a good journey to start. And one's going to be more productivity and task-based, which will be, I keep doing it the wrong one, which is going to be this one. And this one's going to be more about like habit tracking, my mood, various thoughts, still tasks and bits, because I do have bits I need to do in my day and personal life. But this is going to be more about tracking my mood and my habits and any other various things that I'm interested in tracking to do with more like emotional side of my life and like the personal side. So, I'll see you at the desk. And we are back at the desk, and we're just gonna start opening up this book. There you can see the Ryman on the back. I do plan to get some stickers to go on these books to make them a little bit more interesting. But we're going to start with opening up this book and sort of making it a little bit less stiff. This has also got like a little pocket in the back of documents, but I don't think I'm really going to use it. good, because that's a trick I only learned recently with books, where they sort of just open up a little bit better. So, I'd always say leave a couple of pages at the front of your journal. And I'd say also at the front of the journal, we need to put a key for what you're going to do for your tasks if you're doing a sort of work journal. Once you get used to it, you may not actually need it anymore, but we start by sticking this in the cover for now. I don't think it will stick forever, but as you can see in here, this is for all your tasks, so the little circle means a task, and then a cross put through that means complete. So you know that task is done for the day. And then a half line like that, so half a cross or a dash means partially complete. An arrow facing that way, facing to your right, means migrated. So taken from another part and put into that page. So either moved forward or moved back, but it's been moved from another section. Backwards means scheduled. So your stuff you've actually scheduled in. A star is a priority. A circle, so an open circle, is an event you have to do or go to. And then a little dash is a note, so just a random note from your day that isn't an event you need to do. So that can stay in there. I smudge my writing because I'm an awful handwriter, but that can stay in there, and that means that we can refer back to it as we're learning to journal and really get like a hold of what we're doing, which is always nice. So then you can switch over. I'd say use your first 2 pages here as indexes. You can always write, like say on this page, you can always use it as like a cover page. You can do whatever you want with it, decorate it, make it yours, even just put your name in there and it say work journal. Just so when you open it up, you know what you're opening up. Then I always leave like page 3 at the front because that's never particularly nice to write on. And then we can do on the first page. So if we go up here in the middle at the top, you can just put index, and you can do that on. They haven't cut this page properly. It slopes a little bit. Then you can put index up there too, and then this will eventually fill up when you're filling up your journal, so you can come back to this with your numbered pages and put in the topic and the number of the pages on. So if you need to get back to anything or a certain day, or there's anything that sort of gets into your head that you need to put in there and you need to find it quickly, you can refer to your index. But I'm going to put these as page 1 and page 2. So then we can move on to the next setup of pages, which is going to be a future log. I will need my ruler for. And ideally, you want to do this about six months ahead. So if today is April at the moment, so you want to start on from May on this bit, and it just helps you plan things 6 months sort of in advance, just to help you get ahead of stuff. So you can just rule across. You go down here. My sections aren't going to be even because I'm not that good at stuff like this, but they don't need to be even, to be fair. They just need to be there and not too uneven. So then that would leave us the future log. So in the top box would be May, and then in here you could have June. You can go that side or up and down, it doesn't really matter. July, August, September, and October. Perfect. So then that's your future log ready to use, and you can fill that up as and when you have bits and pieces coming up in those months, so you don't forget them. Anything that's worth going in the journal that will be there on the later months. Always good to have in here, just so you don't forget it or don't lose track of it. So then, if we change pages, and it's now time for the timeline. So this is the days of the week over the entire month. So it obviously starts to bleed through the page a little bit, but that's also my marker. So on one side, you want all the days from 1 up to 30. So you go, one in each box ideally. 8. I'm going to start in May because we are at the end of April. Actually, no, we'll start with April because I've still got a few days left. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And then all you've got to do in that bit is go now through and add the days of the week by letter. So just an M, an S for whatever day of the week you're on. So it would go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 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 Wednesday, Thursday. And then that would be anything you need to add sort of after it's happened. So you can always add bits back in after the fact, and it's more of a track of your month and what you've done more than tasks that need to be done. So then this will move on to our monthly action plan, and you can do that on this side. You can either, if you just want to have one journal to use, you can split this side into personal and not personal, so work basically. But this is solely going to be a work diary for me. I'm going to split up two. So on this one you can just put monthly action plan or action plan, because obviously that fits in with the month of May, which is, I'll probably put up here, or April, sorry, I'll probably put that. I've got a lot of space down here. So I can just put April in this bottom corner. So then we've got that on there, quite easy. So we know this whole page is April, and then we can just fill up action plan. And I don't have anything in my head right now to put in my action plan because I have been off work this week. So this one for me will be when I sit at my desk on a Monday morning and I know what I've got to deal with and what I need to do and any other bits that need adding. But that's where you can come back to this bit here and you can add your tasks with their bits down the side. So is it a priority task, is it an event, is it a note, into this little action plan, and then you will use this action plan to migrate it over into your daily log, which is what we're going to do on this page. So all you've got to do for the daily log, I'd say, it's like you're at school again, for those obviously people who did this at school, which I think most schools do throughout the world. And you just got to put today's date, which is just ticked over to the 26th of April as I record this. 6. I always do short form dates. You can add the day as well across the top, but for the sake of this, it's 26/04 2026, which is a Sunday. And it just sort of helps you relate to what days, because obviously I don't work weekends, so my Sundays aren't really going to be in here. But unless I'm doing prep before the night before work, but this is just an example as well. And then all you've got to do in this bit is add your tasks, which will eventually be in here in this action plan, and pull over for what you need for what days, or as you go along, so you don't forget things, because I get so caught up in my work at work sometimes, or I get dragged away to do other things because I work in quite a busy environment in hospitals and such. So sometimes things get pushed down the list and I will forget them for a bit, but this is a way of helping me remember what I've got to do. So then they would just be filled in down here with their dots. So if I had a meeting, I'd put a dot, and then if it was a priority meeting, I use it as a star instead and put it in there. Then once it's done, I can put the cross through it. So that's how this diary will work, and that's pretty simple because I believe that's everything I need for the work diary. And as I said, with the work diary, I will add bits to the outside of it to make it a bit more obvious it is a work diary. And we can even pull this in here, just so we know what page we're at when we start next time. And that is, we'll leave that pen there for the next one, and that's it. That's my work diary filled in. So that moves us on to this other diary, which is going to be my personal diary, my habit tracking diary, and just my general journal for any thoughts I may have. Oh, that was a bit rough. Let's try and be a little bit gentler on this one. That's a lot better. So over here we just have the nice orange, and again I'm probably going to get some stickers for this to add on there as well, because that's my personal diary, add a bit of flair to it. You've got to do the same when you open these up. So we open this one up, both sides. Again, a little pocket in, I've got nothing in there, I don't know what I'd keep in there, but you never know. You take a few pages from each side, as such. Just flat down each side. And a few more pages. Split them up, and then sorry, my hands are a little bit dry for this, so and the same for one more little split for now. There we go. So again, especially with a sort of habit tracking personal journal, I've seen a lot of interesting ideas on YouTube and stuff of how and where and sort of how to set these up. So I'd leave yourself a few pages anyway, just because it's a little bit easier to, there's things you can put in front of this, something more creative. Some people put like their eulogy and stuff like that, just interesting things to keep your mind active and help you write little things about yourself that you might not always say. So like a eulogy is a good idea because obviously they're usually very positive, and you can write your own eulogy, so you give it write loads of positive things about yourself in the front to go back to. So I'd probably leave a good few pages in this one, just in case you want to do some creative things. There's plenty of ideas online if you want to look some up yourself, and they're not really my things to be passing out because there's a lot of creative people on that I'm not going to pass their ideas out without people going to see videos from them. So we've got that first 2, 3, 4. I think that's probably enough. So we're going to start on this page here. With this one, it's a little bit different to the work diary because it's a lot less formal as such. So I think the first page of this, the best idea I've seen for this, is again you start with the month you're in. So we're currently in April, that can go anywhere across the top, but obviously usually it's better in this top corner. So April and the year, that's all you need. 2026, and then from here you can fill in around it whatever you want, but as in you can decorate the page, you can doodle, you can do whatever your heart desires. You can do that in your work diary to be fair, but obviously a personal journal always has a bit more flair to it, I feel like. So on here it's just, I'd leave a gap in case you want to underline it or something, but it's memorable moments from the month that obviously you come back and add these in. Moments. And you can either number these as you go, or you can just add them in with bullet points. Someone calls them, there was a video, I'll try and reference some of the videos I've looked at in the not in the comments, in the description, mainly because I have forgotten the names of people I looked at. But there is a guy who I looked at one of his journaling videos, and I set up a journal, and he calls it winning streaks. So like any good moments you have that week or month, or just anything that carries on through the month that keeps you positive, come back here to reflect on it, because obviously that gives you that mentality of positivity, and it's a lot easier to go through life and be more productive when you're thinking positively, which is why I'm starting this, because that's something that I struggle to do on a daily basis. So if we now move on to the next section, which will be on this page here, and this will be your habit tracking section. So you can track ideally whatever you want on this. Obviously this is what I'm going to track, so I'm just going to turn this around, because at the top here I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, I think, just so I can fill in. So from the probably top 3 lines I'll leave empty, but then from the top 3 lines down, so all the boxes, so we go across here and down here, and this is where I'm going to add my sort of dietary tracking things in to make sure that I'm getting them in daily. So ideally here you can leave a bit of space for dates and stuff, but I think actually no, maybe a good thing to do would be over on the memorable moments here. If we go down the side from 1 to 30, I think do a memorable moment from each day because that's less taxing to reflect on. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30 again. So now you can write down a memorable day or a memorable event from every day in that week. And then from there, this is where you can add your things in line. So if you go along here, your dates and boxes would start here. So it would be there, and then it would end. Where's the third line over? Roughly here. So that gives me a little area to work in. So the first thing I'd like to track, sort of dietary-wise, would be my creatine that I haven't taken for a while and always forget to take. And then all I've got to do is put a little tick in that, or an X in that box underneath to say I have taken it. And you can do that every day down the list. The one after that I like to track is my level of protein I'm consuming, just to make sure I'm hitting my target. I probably spelled protein wrong, actually, knowing how I spell, but I will know what it means. A new one I'm adding in is fibre, because fibre is important. I feel like this year is a year of fibre, last year was protein. I want to try and make sure I consume at least 2 litres of water daily, as well as tracking if I take any caffeine, just to see if it alters my day, because I did get off caffeine for quite a while and it was really, really good for me, as in like energy and mentally wise, but I may have drifted back into the realms of taking caffeine. So we're going to see how much that affects me. So we can use my ruler, I think, now to box them all off, at least from each other for now, and I can join them up later, because I've not got a nice setup to sit there and record this video. I am standing and it makes it very hard to get everything correct, and I want to make this look at least nicer for my journal. So they're my main ones I sort of want to track. I think the next one is going to be stress levels, because stress levels for me are, I'm something I'm a lot better at controlling now, but it used to wreak havoc with me in general. So if I put stress in there, and I think if I give myself a box, and obviously I think there's going to be high to low stress, so you got, I think if we have 3 points from here, so I've got to give myself a little bit more room there actually, but it's a work in progress. So stress can be, I think, 3 levels. Actually, I think I'll do 4, because I think it's always good to give yourself 4 sort of areas to work on. Mainly because I think if you give yourself 3, you can a lot of the time just cop out in the middle and not actually make a decision. And I feel like the middle option is always a cop out, because if you don't know how you feel, you'll choose the middle one, but at least this makes me choose at least a level of stress and how I'm feeling. So that'll be stress. We'll then move on to here and leave a little gap, and the next one is going to be my mood. This one can be in 3s, because this is quite a straightforward one. So we will have How are we going to do this from this angle? Doesn't really matter, I think. I think we'll have sad. It looks quite angry actually. We'll have sort of in the middle, and we'll have happy. And that will be, I think it's better if we do it this way, because I get a little bit more room. And that will be mood. And then I do have training I would like to fit in there. And this is mainly around my sprint training. So if we leave a 2-dot gap again, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, and those will be the days, the sort of sessions I need to get in. So that can be tempos, excels, acceleration, max, V, and endurance. So those are all the 3 things I need to fit in realistically for my training. And then that can just have training above it because I don't really need the room. Perfect. And then I have left 3 boxes on the edge of the paper, right here. And these can be for sort of whatever you need them to be for. This can be 3 things you want to get done in the week. You can either label it as letters, so like mine will be training, making sure I get my training in completely. Content, I want to make sure that I'm creating content at least once or twice weekly. And then I'm not really sure what I'm going to use the other one for yet. I think I might use it to work on my singing. So then I can see if there's patterns where I have certain days to fit all that in and just make everything a little bit easier for me, or if I have no days to fit it in, and we'll see if there's a pattern coming up. But it also encourages me to make sure I get this in at least once a week between all of them. Hopefully a couple of times in a week, or training will be 4 times a week because of the 4 sessions. And then to this one, I'd probably like to add sleep. So I can add hours of sleep in there. I can just put like 7, 6, 7.5. And that gives me the option. So I think we can cross these ones off together to make them just a nice little cooperative area. And the same with hopefully these ones at the end. I can just fit that one at the end actually, so why not? Perfect. Not the neatest, but I think everyone sort of gets what's happening on this one. So here, once you get some creatine in on that day, we can put a cross or a tick in the box and say it's done. Same with this one, and then you eventually can just follow it across. You see memorable moments, and then you can see, did I hit my protein goals, my water goals, whatever goals I have set. I could say I got 7 hours of sleep in there, so I can like, oh, I got 7 hours of sleep. And to be fair, I do track that even mentally. Or also have my Fitbit on my wrist, which is always a good way to track it because it gives you the metrics. And then I can go along the line on this day and go, how did I feel that day? I'd probably, to be fair, I could do it as a little bar chart because I like that visually. So obviously I can fit in a few days because we're near the end of April. So I felt like this, and then I went from that day to being dismally sad, and then eventually you'd see the trends of your, obviously that's not straight enough, but you see the trends of your week. And the same with the tempos. I can do a bar chart, or I can just put a X in line, and then we can see exactly where I am for that week of training. So the XLs will be in here. I did XL on this day, I did tempos on this day, I did max V on this day, endurance on this day, and then I can see that I got everything in. The only thing I can add in probably here is gym, which I may add in, because the gym is probably the hardest thing for me to do, as in like physically get up and do, because I sometimes enjoy the gym, sometimes I don't, but I'd rather be out on the track. And then we can go down here, this can be another chart, we can bar this off like we are with this one. And let's go, I did singing today, as well as training, or I needed some content creation today, and it just helps you keep track of everything. You can even use colours, like if I wanted to, I could have put caffeine in the red, so I know that that's something I want to track, but not actively do, so not take caffeine in every day, but when it's there, I know it's a bad thing that I've done. I could have put the moods in, I could put the smiley faces in red, blue, green, so just to correspond, just make it a little bit more lively. But I think that's pretty much there for both of these. So that one's up. I will once again take that out, put it in there, close up the diary. I will get some new pens for this, because these pens are also a little bit smudgy because they are gel based. Then all you've got to do is just, this is harder than it looks, so slide that in there, and you're ready to go whenever to journal. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope if anything it might have given you some guys, given you some ideas on how to sort of journal or start journaling, because I'm not an expert, I'm only starting myself. But hopefully it gives you some good ideas on how to get started, and maybe you can start journaling, like not along with me, but you know what I mean, start the journey sort of around the same time. And if you do, just let me know how it feels and if it helps you in any way. But I said I've got my professional work one and my more honest personal one, and I will sort of decorate them at some point as well, because they're a bit bland, but it helps me differentiate with the colours already. So yeah, so I'm going to leave that there. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're relaxed. Sleep well, and I'll catch you next time.